ABC 17 News at 10 on KMIZ starts now.
Shot fire, officer down. Shot fire, officer down. Got a city officer down. Shot fire. Shot fire on your line.
Authorities say a Missouri man is responsible for shooting and killing 3 law enforcement officers in Baton Rouge today. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Taylor Petras. That man has been identified as 29-year-old Gavin Long from Kansas City. He was shot on scene by officers. Here's the latest out of Baton Rouge tonight. We know Long shot and killed 2 Baton Rouge police officers and 1 sheriff deputy just 1 mile away from the police department. Tonight, those officers have been identified. 3 other law enforcement officers were also injured. 1 is in the hospital in critical condition. Right now, Long is believed to be the only gunman involved in the attack, but authorities are still investigating whether he had help in planning the attack. We've learned he was a former Marine. He also followed several conspiracy groups on social media devoted to government surveillance and monitoring. A motive has yet to be determined. Here in mid-Missouri, some police departments are changing the way they patrol since the Dallas attack, and now in Baton Rouge. ABC 17's Deborah Kendrick joins us live from the Columbia Police Department headquarters, and Deborah, CPD is riding in 2-man units now.
They are, Taylor. About the beginning of July is when they started to enforce that, but not all departments in mid-Missouri are able to do the same.
Was a man lying on the ground. He was by himself.
8 officers killed in 11 days, 5 in Dallas and 3 in Baton Rouge. Law enforcement officers around the nation are on edge.
Law enforcement all over the nation is on a little higher guard.
Columbia Police Chief Ken Burton tweeted, "Our thoughts and prayers are with the men and women of the Baton Rouge, Louisiana Police Department. Another sad day in law enforcement." Jefferson City Police Department tweeted, "Our thoughts and prayers are with the officers in Baton Rouge and officers everywhere in our country." The Columbia Police Department told us today that their officers have been riding 2-man units since July 8th, a day after the Dallas attack. But not all agencies are able to do the same. Callaway County Sheriff's Lieutenant Clay Chisholm told me a shortage in officers takes a toll.
The 2-person unit would be safer in some situations, and believe me, if we had the staffing, that would be a consideration, but it's merely a staffing issue.
Dale Roberts with the Columbia Police Officers Association told me on the phone that officers in Columbia do think about the "what if it was me" scenario. Lieutenant Clay Chisholm says officer safety is the #1 priority, but they also have a second role.
On the other hand, we are community servants, and we have to make sure that we are approachable and accessible to community members.
I spoke with the Cole County Sheriff's Department on the phone earlier today, and they told me that so far no procedures have changed, but if deputies were out and they needed some backup, they would definitely have that available. Live in Columbia, Deborah Kendrick, ABC 17 News.
Deborah, thank you. Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill is condemning the killings of the 3 Baton Rouge law enforcement officers. In a statement today, McCaskill says the violence against our law enforcement can't and won't be tolerated. She says these acts of violence only pushes away our communities further from each other. In Your Voice, Your Vote 2016 tonight, while the Republican National Convention officially starts tomorrow, security in Cleveland is already out in full force. ABC 17's Joey Parker joins us live from the Quicken Loans Arena in downtown Cleveland. And Joey, lots of police presence in Cleveland tonight.
Taylor, without doubt, security was going to be tight, as it always is for these national conventions. This convention, of course, coming on the heels of the terror attack overseas, and now another police killing, 3 officers dead in Baton Rouge, maybe assassinated, just like the officers in Dallas were. And of course, that seems it's going to heighten security, of course. It seems like it's even heightened more than a presidential visit. It took hours to navigate the traffic and various security checkpoints. All we could see from our angle, any angle, police, deputies, Secret Service, and other support agencies. Now, we were blocked by what Cleveland police called a protest. We saw protesters with signs that seemed to be recurring themes for Donald Trump protesters, issues with immigration, racism, capitalism, and we also noticed at least one Black Lives Matter sign. Now, despite the recent globalized national violence, it's been mostly quiet here, but as an estimated 50,000 people descend upon the Cleveland area for the convention, we can all hope everyone will be safe, sane, and peaceful. Now, the queue here, that is the arena arena that we're in can only hold about a third of the size crowd that we see often at Faurot Field. The floor is quiet tonight, as you can see behind me, but it will certainly change tomorrow. On the schedule for tomorrow, an event called Make America Safe Again, with headliners Melania Trump and U.S. Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, whose name also, of course, was bandied about as a possible VP candidate for Trump. We, of course, he went with Governor Mike Pence. We will be here on the ground, though, in Cleveland, as well as in Philadelphia for the DNC, to bring you all the latest action from the convention and, of course, the surrounding areas. Reporting live in Cleveland at the Republican National Convention, Joey Parker, ABC 17 News.
All right, Joey, thank you. According to the Cleveland Police's Twitter page, at least one protester was arrested after trying to take a police officer's gas mask. Breaking news tonight on ABC 17 News. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating a small plane crash in mid-Missouri. The Highway Patrol responded to the crash in Phelps County around 7:30 tonight near County Road 3450 in St. James. Troopers say the pilot and passenger were hurt and taken to the hospital. The extent of their injuries is unknown at this time.
And currently we got a few storms coming across mid-Missouri, but staying in the northern part, well out of our viewing area currently. Here's a current look at our Doppler radar. Mostly dry, actually all dry for all of our viewing area, but I do want to point out a few storms that are trying to make their way into Macon and Monroe counties, and I do think that they will come through later tonight and into tomorrow morning. This line has been tracking southeast and continually developing, getting a little bit stronger as the hours go on. Here's a look at the future track. This is around 11:20 tonight. They're showing a little bit stronger by this time, and then they start to develop and move into the area east of Highway 63 around 3:40 a.m. And then they continue to give showers until around 7:15 a.m. So we expect these showers to continue north of the viewing area, especially around maybe Macon and Monroe counties, and then scraping the east edge of our counties east of Highway 63 all the way until Monday morning around 6 a.m. We should expect these showers to definitely be out of the area. And then we're going to take a look at another future track. Again, it's showing the same exact thing. Those showers just kind of staying along the east side of the counties, and then we also under a marginal risk of severe weather until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then there's a slight risk of severe weather for our upper counties of tipping on Monroe and Macon counties. And then for tomorrow, we should expect a high of around 94 degrees with a chance of storms later in the evening. And then for Tuesday, a high of 92, and then we're getting hot by Thursday and Friday.
In a crime alert tonight, a 19-year-old man is recovering from a gunshot wound after an early morning shooting in central Columbia, and at least one shooter is still on the run. Police say they found at least a dozen shell casings in the 1100 block of Coach Street around 2:30 this morning. An officer on scene told our ABC 17 News crews police were trying to clear out crowds outside of Club Vogue when shots were fired. Police were later notified of a man arriving at the hospital with a gunshot wound in his leg. Police ask you to call them or Crime Stoppers at 875-TIPS if you have any information about the shooting. A group of armed robbers are also still on the run tonight. The robbery happened at the Eagle Stop gas station on North Providence Road around 11 o'clock last night. Police say a group of young men were playing Pokemon Go in the area when they were robbed at gunpoint. The victims told police a group of black men approached them, two with guns, robbed them, and then took off. Police say it's unclear at this time if this incident is connected to 4 other armed robberies that were reported on the same day last week. 2 women are now in custody after forcing police into an 8-hour standoff in Columbia. This morning, CPD took 53-year-old Monica Whited into custody, as well as another 80-year-old woman. They were transported to what police call a secure facility. Police say Whited will be formally arrested once she's released from there. You'll recall the standoff on Woodmore Court that started Friday night after reports of a woman threatening people with a gun in the area. Whited and the 80-year-old woman refused to come out of the house. A man who's been on the run from law enforcement for nearly 2 weeks is now in jail. Callaway County deputies say they arrested John Belisi last night at a house in Fulton. He's been charged with domestic assault and resisting arrest. He's also a registered sex offender. We first told you about the pursuit in Callaway County 2 Sundays ago. Deputies chased him until he drove into the Avaz Creek. He reportedly got out of his car and swam away. A man is now charged in connection to a homicide in Camden County. Michael Hardy Jr. has been charged with the death of 31-year-old Beau McCartney. The Sheriff's Department says the two men were in a fight at a home in the 100 block of Dove Drive yesterday afternoon. Hardy called for medics when McCartney went unconscious. Hardy told police McCartney was using drugs before they began fighting. Hardy is being held in the Camden County Jail on a $10,000 cash bond. A gun-making plant could soon bring in millions of dollars for one mid-Missouri community, but not everyone is on board with the factory that makes semi-automatic rifles. CMMG is looking to move its plant from Fayette to Boonville. Boonville's Economic Development Director says it would bring in more than 50 jobs and $5 million a year. But some city leaders say they're against the idea because they don't think the gun should be available to the public. In a traffic alert tonight, we want to remind you about a new mid-Missouri construction project that could cause some traffic problems on I-70 this week. The traffic is down to one lane in each direction on the Lamine River Bridge near Boonville. MoDOT says drivers can expect long lines during peak travel times. You can use Route 50 and 36 to avoid the traffic as the construction continues. In Columbia, MoDOT says drivers should still expect some closures on the business loop this week. Both the on and off ramps at I-70 and business loop remain closed while crews work on the new interchange there. MoDOT says the work is expected to wrap up by the 27th. And MoDOT is starting night striping on I-44 and I-70 tonight. Crews are painting I-44 in Laclede, Pulaski, Phelps, and Crawford counties, and I-70 in Cooper, Boone, and Callaway counties. The striping will happen overnight for up to 3 weeks. Drivers should expect a slow-moving caravan of trucks with flashing lights.
Just ahead on ABC 17 News at 10, where the news comes first.
Another American is confirmed dead among the more than 80 that were killed in France on Bastille Day. We'll tell you more about the young man that was killed. And here's a live look at the Quicken Loans Arena as our ABC 17 News crews prepare for the Republican National Convention that starts tomorrow. Coming up, we'll tell you how one Missouri delegate is hoping to change the system.